Hey everybody. So I'm going to give some people a little bit of time to get on tonight. Not really going to do kind of my normal rant, if you will, or major talk about anything specific, other than kind of going along the lines of what's happening in Houston right now. Let's see. Let's see who the viewers are. I got a special guest that's going to be joining me tonight. And this guy is actually a friend who actually lives in Houston, is in Houston right now. And I kind of wanted to get to figure out who is, get you some information from someone who's actually on the ground there and dealing with what's going on. If I can get this thing to work where I can actually see who's on here. I got the live viewers, Justin. It's just not letting me see them all. Oh, there it is. Oh, we had him. There we go. So we're gonna Josh here. This will work. I did this on a different page, on the dummy page, and I got it to work right away.
Hey.
Josh is here. Hey, buddy.
Hey. Looks like the best way to, every time I do this, it looks like you have to comment and then it'll split screen it.
Will it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very cool. Well,
so that might be why it wasn't working last time.
Well, you know what? Thank you guys. Thanks, Josh. So everybody, this is a graph, and Josh down in a suburb of Houston, correct? And so I wanted to get Josh on here, number one, just because he's a cool dude, and I kind of like talking to him every now and then, and he's kind of the epitome of what this whole Man Up project really is. But I also wanted him on here to, I don't know if this is really a public service type of deal, but I wanted people to kind of get an idea of what's going on there, Josh, from you, as far as like the scale of this. We see it on the TV, we see it in the news. You know, I remember when we first time Brendan and I went to Paris, we actually got to see the Eiffel Tower in person, and pictures, and actually to see it in person, it was like, oh my word, this thing's huge. And so people even have a clue as to what it's like down there for you guys right now.
So right now it's very crazy. Lots of rain. If you are familiar with the Houston area, you know that there are a lot of lakes and rivers and creeks and bayous, and it is a low area. They built it basically concrete on top of a bayou. So with the amount of rain totals here, the flood things, the flood is just beginning to become outrageous and catastrophic. If you have not been watching it on the news, some places have been getting upwards of 40 inches of rain, which is just unbelievable amount of rain. And many of the lakes and the reservoirs are beginning to crest, and they are all cresting. All the creeks, all the bayous, all the lakes, all the rivers, they're all cresting at record levels. And they have just now begun their cresting, and they're going to get higher as the days go on. Many of the lakes are just beyond capacity. So because they're beyond capacity, they are having to let the water out slowly so that they can continue to control the dams, so that they can secure the integrity of the dams. And because of that, they are having voluntary and mandatory evacuations downstream, because the amount of water that is coming into these lakes is exceeding the amount that is actually being able to let out.
Wow.
So in the next coming days, the flooding is going to be a lot worse than it actually is right now. And so, and the storm is supposed to be here for another 3 or 4 days, which is going to add another 5 to 10 inches of rain each of those days, on top of what's already been done.
say this is kind of Katrina levels, if not worse than Katrina levels?
It could possibly be worse because it's going to span basically from Corpus Christi, and now they're saying that a lot of this is going to start hitting Louisiana as well. So it's going to be Louisiana, basically the coast of Texas and the coast of Louisiana.
Folks.
So it's going to be again, it's a catastrophic situation right now.
And I know, if we look at, we can see behind you, you guys got power, and you're still in a house, and
yeah, we were blessed. It did flicker a lot all night last night, but it's on and running right now. So,
but that's not the case for a lot of the neighborhoods down there, is it?
There are, I think there's like 130, 150,000 people without power right now. It has been amazing that there are homes underwater, yet there is still power in a lot of the homes. It's kind of the craziest thing. But a lot of these communities are going to the underground wire now instead of the poles. So.
No, I know that. I'm assuming because the weather is crappy that there hasn't been a lot of like society at its worst. What happens sometimes when these types of things happen, you'll see the looters and those types of things come out. Have you seen much of that?
They actually haven't seen as much as you would think. They really haven't even talked about it at all on the major news channels here, the local ones. The main thing is people have actually been getting out there and helping people get out of their homes, because places that were not supposed to flood and were supposedly high and dry are now flooding. And again, like I said, the waters are going to continue to rise. So people are getting their boats, and they are helping out as much as they can. I saw a video today in Dickinson, which has just been issued a mandatory evacuation. It's completely underwater, and it's going to get higher. And the streets are full of boats and people walking the boats around, helping people get to safety so that they can be brought to a shelter. It's a pretty amazing thing that men and women are stepping up and doing what they can to help their fellow man. And it's amazing to see people doing what we're called to do, and that's to love and help people.
And that's what struck me about this after talking to you, and I think Corey Soares. I mean, he's another guy that we know in our business, and I know he drove his truck and boat down there, and he's down there doing what he can to help. And that's really and the reason I wanted to do this tonight on this page is because the whole Man Up project that I've kind of started with everything. That's what it is. It's looking for those that need help, that can't help themselves, or not that they can't help themselves, but in this case, it's so devastating that they can't because everything on.
Yes, exactly.
And so to see that in a situation like this, there's more.
I'm still here.
More people doing the right thing than the bad thing. More people manning up and humaning. Is humaning a word? I don't know if it's a word. But stepping up and being that. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I lost you for that last thing there.
That people are actually doing that, and they're stepping in, and like is it the Cajun Navy?
Cajun Navy, they came in force, and they said that y'all helped, or Houston sent a lot of people with their boats to help them during Katrina, so they wanted to help Texas while we're going through the same kind of thing as they were going through. So I'm helping their neighbor.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. And for those of you who don't know, the Cajun Navy is I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think it's a bunch of former vets that kind of started it, and they're search and rescue, and they know what they're doing, and they're retired, and it's something that they get back and help their fellow It's literally they go from disaster to disaster.
They do. It's an amazing sight to see.
And then
all lined up on the road driving down there.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So Josh, I know there's a lot of people like me. Okay, all the way up in Minnesota, but don't know. There's nothing much. I can't really do anything from here. I can put a prayer up, but other than that, what do I do? What's the best way people can help?
Okay.
Obviously, there's not much you can do down there. Looking forward into the future, well, people always wonder, okay, if I'm going to give something or someone or some organization, how do I know that my money is going to actually make it to the people who need it? I guess
right.
Is
right.
The Red Cross, which I think, hey, that's a great organization to help too. For you guys that are there in what you know and where the help is needed, what can we tell people, or what can people know?
Well, of course, American Red Cross, that's just the kind of a go-to that most people do, like you said. The Southern Baptist Disaster Relief is also a big one here. I know they helped out a lot during a lot of the hurricanes. Samaritan's Purse. And then one that's close to my heart is I Connect Outreach, which is actually a foundation that my dad started during Hurricane Ike. And it's one where they were able to amass about 8,000 volunteers and rebuild over 100 homes and several schools and churches during or in the aftermath of Hurricane Ike. And they have revamped that for Hurricane Harvey. And so they can go to, if you want to donate, you can go to iconnectoutreach.org. There's also a GoFundMe for the same thing. That is gofundme.com/hurricane-harvey-emergency-housing. No, that was long. But I think that's how GoFundMe does it.
Josh, what I'd like to do then, when we finish this up, if you wouldn't mind in the comments putting down the I for sure, the American Red, those things that you list off, so people can kind of have an idea of, okay, here's what I can do to help. Because I think where people really need to, where the big help is going to be needed is once this is all done, like you see a lot with the expansion going on, the rebuilding process.
A lot of rebuilding. My gosh, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, the homes are just so inundated with water. It is just, it's going to be an ordeal for a long time.
I think you're exactly right. So I think once and I'll keep in touch with you as things go. And if once this is done and that rebuilding process starts, I'd like to do another video and okay, if people want to go down and what's the process look like? How does that look? And so we can get people, anybody that wants to, a way to be able to get down there and help if that's what they want to do.
Okay.
I'm
up for that. If you're up for that.
100%. Well, Josh, I appreciate you guys being on there with me tonight, and you guys are still in our prayers and our thoughts. All of that whole part of the country is. And you guys
appreciate it.
Stay safe, stay dry. Hopefully, your electricity stays on.
I hope so.
you just reach out and give a holler, but really appreciate you stopping by and kind of just giving everybody it's a real life lesson on what that manning up piece is.
Yes.
Said it before. It could be called Human Up. But at this point, I wrote the book, so I'm calling it Man Up. It encompasses everybody, but right now is really kind of embodying what that means, and it's good to see. I hate to see that it takes this to really highlight it, but man, you guys are really stepping up down in that area, and the whole country is. And if there's anything we can do, you let us know.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. You have a good rest of the evening, and say hi to the family for me and give everybody a hug when you see them.
Will do. Thank you, man. Love you, brother.